Before we begin, I want you to imagine something with me. Picture a Sunday dinner. The room is warm. The smell of roasted chicken drifting through the air. The soft rhythm of family voices filling the space. Across the table sits Sarah, 65 years old, bright, sharp, the storyteller of every gathering. She is right in the middle of a familiar memory, smiling, speaking, alive. And then it happens. The fork slips from her left hand. It hits the plate with a sharp, metallic echo. The laughter stops. Everyone looks at her, waiting for a grin, a joke, something. But she doesn't smile. Confusion spreads across her face. She tries to speak, but the sounds that leave her mouth are not words, just a broken melody of syllables that don't belong to any language. The left side of her face softens, sinks, like wax near a flame. And in that single second, the worst kind of silence begins. Inside her skull, a biological war is erupting. Not a war of soldiers, but of memories, movements, tiny sparks of personality, each one fighting to survive. Most people freeze in this moment. They think, maybe she's tired, maybe she's stressed, maybe she drank too fast. But hesitation is the deadliest enemy. Because what you're about to learn is the code that saves lives. So let's shrink down for a moment and travel inside the human brain, a city more complex than anything on Earth. These arteries are highways. These neurons are power plants. And even though the brain is only 2% of your body weight, it consumes 20% of your oxygen and your energy. It is a hungry beast, one that never rests. Now imagine one of those main highways suddenly blocked. A clot forms, travels, becomes trapped in a narrow vessel. Traffic stops. The lights in the city begin going out. Or imagine a pipe bursting, flooding everything around it, destroying precious tissue. Whether it is a blockage or a bleed, the result is the same. Brain cells suffocate. And here's the part people never truly grasp. In the time it takes to watch a single minute of this video, nearly 2 million neurons can die. In 1 hour without treatment, the brain ages the equivalent of more than 3 years. When Sarah dropped that fork, the clock didn't start ticking. It started sprinting. But before we go deeper, there is something most people never hear. These signs we look for today, the drooping face, the weak arm, the slurred speech, they did not simply appear. They were born out of years of tragedy. Not long ago, in the late 1990s, countless families faced moments like this and had no idea what was happening. A father at the dinner table would drop his fork. Words would dissolve into a slur. And people made the same heartbreaking mistake again and again. They waited. They hoped it would pass. But inside the brain, a rising tide was destroying millions of neurons, minute after minute, silently. Back then, we already had a medication that could dissolve clots, a miracle drug. But it came with a cruel rule. It only worked in the first few hours. Doctors realized they weren't fighting the disease anymore. They were fighting time. And the world needed a way for ordinary people, not neurologists, to recognize a stroke instantly. The first breakthrough came in Cincinnati, Ohio. Researchers stripped away the complex neurological exam until only 3 essential signs remained: the face, the arm, the speech. Simple, fast, effective. But something was still missing. Across the ocean, in Newcastle in the United Kingdom, a group of stroke specialists studied this new scale and saw its true potential. They added one final letter, the letter T. Time. It was no longer a list. It was a command. Face, arm, speech, time. A message that said, if you see these signs, you don't wait, you act. F.A.S.T. became the global language of stroke, a gift from the heroes you don't know. Now let's return to Sarah. To understand what is happening inside her skull, imagine the aftermath of a forest fire. In the very center, the trees are already ash. This is the core of the stroke, tissue that cannot be saved. But surrounding it is a ring of trees that are scorched, starving, but still alive. This ring is called the penumbra, a zone surviving on tiny collateral vessels, fragile side roads that offer a final lifeline of oxygen. And this zone can be saved, but only if time is on your side. Sarah's family recognized the signs. They remembered the code. They called emergency services immediately. At the hospital, she was rushed into a CT scanner. The images revealed a blockage, a clot, not a bleed. And this difference matters more than most people realize. A medication called a clot buster, tissue plasminogen activator, can dissolve the clot like a chemical drill team. But this drug is not safe for everyone. Doctors must check strict criteria first. When it is appropriate, it can open the vessel and bring the brain back to life. For Sarah, the results weren't instant, but slowly, hour by hour, something extraordinary began to unfold. Blood flow returned. The penumbra, those starving neurons, finally received oxygen again. And one by one, tiny lights across the brain began to flicker back on. Her speech softened into real words. Her hand squeezed her daughter's fingers. And for the first time since the fork slipped from her hand, hope returned to her eyes. But her story doesn't end there. The human brain is not a machine with fixed parts. It is a living, rewiring organism. Even when some cells die, others can learn to take their place. New pathways can form. Entire networks can be rebuilt. This process, called neuroplasticity, allows people to regain abilities once believed permanently lost. With repetition, with therapy, with time, the brain can draw entirely new maps. We often praise the doctors and nurses, and they are heroes. But in the story of a stroke, they are the second line of defense. The first line is you. The true hero in Sarah's story wasn't the neurologist who gave the medication. It was her son who noticed the dropped fork, her daughter who remembered the signs, the family who refused to wait. A stroke steals pieces of who we are, but we are not powerless. We have a code, we have a map, we have knowledge. And knowledge becomes power only when it is shared. So I want you to do something right now. Think of someone you care about, a parent, a friend, a partner. Send them this video. Tell them, I watched this, and I want you to know it too. Because one day, without warning, you might be the person standing at a dinner table, holding the power to save a life. Stay aware, stay observant, and take care of one another.